Hello and welcome to the Rev It Up podcast, helping entrepreneurs fill up their tanks, crank up the RPMs, and put the pedal to the metal until they cross that finish line. Hello, I'm Jess Tiffany. Ready, set, go. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. Super excited to have Chris Heinz with us today. And Chris has many skill sets. I was going to try to read your bio here a little bit, but I like on your website, it says, we're here to fuel your fire for life, work, and faith so you can live with purpose, passion, and power on one of your, that's on one of your, on your chrisheinz.com site. And then I was going to read this here. Where'd it go? So it says, after a 12-year career in software making, Chris changed his focus to personal development. After receiving several coaching certifications, he developed an employee engagement program, strengths-based culture, and employee growth program for Energy Cap. And you've kind of grown from there, and you got all kinds of cool things. I wanted to congratulate you on being a multi-year Energy Star Partner of the Year. I thought that was pretty cool. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and that award you just got and that sort of thing?
Sure. Well, Jess, thanks for having me. I always like meeting other business people who are doing some cool things in the world and workplace. So thanks for having me. So you said a few key things about me. I do have a lot of interests, but a lot of it centers around helping people develop into really who they are and what they can contribute in the world and workplace. And so I love helping folks get better self-awareness. Better self-awareness helps with team building and building partnerships, which in turn helps with employee engagement. So I kind of see it as all related, and none of these things happen by chance. You know, all of these takes effort and design, and that's what I like to help people do is be intentional with their own growth. So I do have a day job at Energy Cap as the Chief People Officer.
Yep.
And then I have a side gig, Chris Heinz Co., where I lead personal development efforts in terms of workshops and thought leadership and printed resources and online courses. So I really like to get around people and help them grow. Energy Cap, you mentioned our Energy Star Partner of the Year Award. We publish energy management software. So I'm not a developer myself. Developer of people, but not a programmer. We're a software company primarily, but I love to help people develop. I help with recruiting efforts, personal development efforts, personnel issues, engagement, which has been key for us over time in terms of creating a really great workplace. And we actually just recently were named an Inc. magazine Best Workplace. In addition to in the past being a fastest growing workplace, as well as an Energy Star Partner of the Year, which really speaks to our software itself. So really exciting place to work. We put a lot of things into practice for us to be successful and build a good culture.
Fantastic. So on Energy Cap, can you give me a little recap of the origin story? Because I noticed somebody else with the same name as the CEO. So I think that's a relation of some sort?
Sure. Yeah, it's an interesting story. So Steve Heinz, who started the company, is my dad. Okay. And I actually work with my two brothers, as well as we're about a 70-person company at this point. So a bunch of other people. Yeah. But back in the 80s, he started a company around energy management software. He saw this as a felt need. At the time, before there was such a thing, he taught himself programming and created this software package that would help an organization manage utility energy spending, and built the company up to be, much larger than just himself. This is what my dad did when I was in high school. I didn't really care really what my dad did, but I just knew that he went to work and it had to do with energy. Well, fast forward a few years, Enron, huge company Enron that a lot of us have heard about. Yeah. Enron was buying up energy companies, and they bought my dad's software company because it had to do with energy, moved some people to Texas from Pennsylvania, where the company was based. And my dad at that point got out. He was like, I'm not going to Texas. So he got out, he retired, he was happy. Well, then, as we all know, what happened to Enron, they went bankrupt. And he ended up buying the software from the bankruptcy court, got it back in his own hands,
Wow.
kind of redeveloped it, started this new company called Energy Cap Inc., and started hiring his old team back. Well, at that time, us kids were of age. And so he hired me, he hired my two brothers, and now today he's sort of running this company again, kind of a second time, having learned the lessons the first time. And now we're about double the size we were before. And we are, we're pretty successful.
Wow. That is a really good story. And is there, I know you were Inc. 5,000 fastest growing company and obviously the best workplace, it sounds like you were saying too. What were a couple things maybe that you could give, tips about that would help somebody else that's trying to achieve such a goal in the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think a key is investing in your people. I think that's one thing that's different this time around is a real emphasis on people growth. The previous human resource function at our company was, doing recruiting and doing sort of compliance, but not that strong in people development. And so I actually stepped out of my marketing role, stepped into human resources because I really have a passion for people development. And we did a lot of investing in our people, helping our employees understand what their natural talent areas are, turning those talents into strengths where they're performing really well, and then using those strengths for their job roles.
Okay.
That's been key. And also a lot of team building, helping people find purpose in their work, identify engagement drivers, what makes them feel motivated and passionate about their work. So I'd say number one, invest in your people. It may seem like it's not hands-on computer keys work. Like it doesn't always feel productive when you're investing in people, but people are who makes the work and who makes the team work. And so you really want to invest in your people. I'd say that is number one. And I'd say as number two, make sure you do have the right team around you. Make changes early on. If it just doesn't seem like they're going to be the right fit, don't let maybe improper fit in terms of employees go on too long. You want to give people chances, but most often it's that we hold on too long to kind of the wrong fit instead of moving that person out to find the right fit. So invest in people, surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah. And that kind of rolls right into chrisheinz.co then, with the, investing in people and strength finders. And can you tell me a little bit about, the strength tests that you have and what you, kind of what they help your company determine and help other companies determine with your business?
Yeah. Well, we've built a strengths culture into the company. And I think that is one of the keys to us being a best workplace, is that we want to help our employees identify their best areas of talent so they can use those talents toward their job outcomes. The clear expectations of job outcomes are really important as well, because then you know where to point your strengths and talents at. But what we do is we use a strengths assessment called Clifton Strengths. This is put out by the Gallup organization, used to be called Strengths Finder. I'm a Gallup certified strengths coach. And so what we do is have every employee take the Clifton Strengths assessment, which identifies your top 5 talent themes out of 34 possible talent themes. You can actually get your full 34, and we do the full 34 at Energy Cap, but many places just do the 5, which is cool. But what we do is we identify areas of talent. So our employees can start to learn, what do I do best? How do I use what I do best toward my job role? And so they take the assessment by requirement as an employee. I do some training with them. We do some team training as well, because you want to know who's on your team. You want to know who can I partner with, who does well, what I don't do so well, what do I do well that they don't do so well. And so you really get a good understanding of who's in the room and what they can contribute. What I love about strengths is it really is a strategy to build an engaged workforce. Folks who operate in their strengths most of the time at work report being 6 times as likely to be more engaged than those who aren't using their strengths.
Wow.
And as you know, engagement brings better productivity, better profitability. Like, everyone wins when you're engaged, and a way to get engaged is by using your strengths. So I do a lot with this at Energy Cap. Word got out in town and so forth. And so I'm a Penn State learning partner around strengths. Penn State's the large university in my hometown. And so I'm now the strengths trainer at Penn State, and do about 30 or 35 training events for Penn State a year there. And then word got out beyond Penn State, and now I'm doing some extra work for other organizations, both online and on site, around strengths. So that's been really exciting and fulfilling.
Wow. And so is there a certain type of marketing you do for that, or is it mostly through, it sounds like a lot of referrals, obviously through the Penn State and people having good results and then sharing that with other people. So is there any outside marketing you're doing, or is it mostly focused on just working with the people and growing?
Yeah. I'd say the 2 most successful forms of marketing for me have been word of mouth and content marketing. I am a big believer in content marketing. It's what I did for Energy Cap before I moved to human resources. And so I'm a big believer in a good piece of content that's helpful. And so at Chris Heinz Co., we center ourselves around being generous with content, being helpful with content, being focused on content, around content. And so I publish all sorts of content that has really gotten notice, both blog posts and downloads and videos and things like that, courses that tell a story and help people. And so we're finding new leads all the time because of the content that I put out. And what's nice about that too, I mean, I'm a one-man show, I'm one-man company, and by God's grace, able to do what I do. But we end up looking much larger than we are because we have really good content, really professional look. And so both of those strategies, word of mouth and content marketing, has been pretty cost effective in bringing new leads in.
Oh, great. Yeah. So it's like a lot of blog articles and obviously the courses and the strength finders themselves. Is that kind of what you mean, or did you have some other stuff, type of content you mean?
Yeah, we also have some downloads. So we have good tip sheets, for example, things that help folks understand strengths. I also am into this other assessment called the Enneagram, and do quite a lot of work around the Enneagram, which is a personality system based around 9 personality styles. If Clifton's Strengths shows talent, the Enneagram shows core motivation. Kind of think of strengths as the how, and Enneagram is like the why. And so I do a lot around Clifton's Strengths content, as well as a lot of content around the Enneagram. And so that's been good. We recently published a study tying both tools together, and that's been a really successful way to get the word out. It's basically a study where our data scientists looked at the data that was submitted to us. People submitted their main Enneagram type, so their personality type, as well as their top 5 Clifton Strengths, because we wanted to see how are these related? What types of strengths show up often if you're this personality type? And are there certain strengths that don't show up at all for this personality type? And so really informative, like helpful resources like this help to bring people to us. So I'm doing very little outbound besides publishing content, which is fun for me to do. We don't have like salespeople. We're not doing cold calling. We're not doing email campaigns to, cold call. They're all coming to us.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like really interesting. And I really like how you tied the data scientists in to kind of give you a dynamic picture of how they interrelate and everything like that. Now, do you use these more like in the hiring process, or is it more like once you brought them on, then you nurture them at that point, or is it kind of a combo of both?
In terms of using these assessment tools?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
like energy cap, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
specific.
So we do not use the Clifton Strengths for hiring. That's one thing Gallup says a lot, and I get it because you can use strengths in different ways.
Mm.
You can find someone who's using a communication talent, ability to put thoughts into words or pictures. That's a talent. You can use that in a whole variety of different careers and jobs. So we don't use it for job selection. We use it more for understanding a person's capabilities once they're in a job.
Mhm.
What do they have at their disposal to use toward their work?
Okay.
But the Enneagram can be used in selection. Actually, Salesforce uses the Enneagram in its job hiring. There's this great Enneagram teacher whose focus is Enneagram in business.
Mhm.
And she writes about this, that Salesforce uses the Enneagram in job selection because you want to see what someone's going to contribute. And you can understand one's workplace value and place on teams from their Enneagram type, as well as their conflict style, their emotional life, and so forth. There's a lot you can look at with the Enneagram. And so you kind of want to know, how's this person generally going to behave, contribute on the team? And so Salesforce does use that. We haven't gone that far yet. But I do, truth be told, in a job interview, I'm like trying to figure out by their answers what their type might be. And then I get this loose idea, and then I do try to confirm that prediction with them as the interview goes on.
Okay.
And so in a way we use it, but I'm not going to disqualify someone based on Enneagram.
Yeah. And so it's a chief, I just went blank.
Chief People Officer?
People officer, yes.
Yeah.
That kind of, would that be like an HR type role, or is it kind of a hybrid?
Yeah, it's definitely an HR role, but traditionally human resources has been more thought of as, compliance or benefits, more administrative.
Yeah.
And I do a lot with development of people, workplace engagement. I'm a certified coach, so employees coach with me. And so it definitely is a hybrid between, compliance and sort of the legal side of things, hiring, but also helping to help that person flourish and perform better, get more satisfaction from work. So my main charter at Energy Cap is to drive workplace engagement. Because employees spend more time with their coworkers in their waking hours than with their loved ones, if you can believe it. And we spend more time working in a full-time job than doing anything else during our waking hours. So it pays for us to be engaged and have positive interactions and to feel satisfied and purposed. And so I think the Chief People Officer role is a little bit more intentional at doing that, rather than just sort of like hiring, making sure you understand your benefits and compliance issues.
Hey everybody, Jess here. What if I could help your company find over $100,000 in hidden revenue streams in less than an hour without spending an extra dime on advertising or marketing? Reach out to me at cardzap.thebumpcard.me. Check out the video on 5 steps to profit, and also reach out and we can have a conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that. And I think you get a lot better, relationships within the company. And when you like and trust your coworkers, I think more productivity just naturally through the people in your organization. And if you can kind of, I don't want to say manipulate, but kind of steer the ship, if you were, like a rudder of the company's culture. I can see how what you do adds a lot of strength and power behind the company, which is probably a big piece of why you were, one of the fastest growing companies and best places to work. Obviously, to be a best place to work, there must be some good, happy people and that's drawn by relationships and not just random luck. Obviously you have some purpose behind what you're doing, and so that's obvious I think to everybody listening. So tell me a little bit about we talked a little bit before this, but about kind of how your faith impacts your business and how you have a strength finder, basically. It looked like for your faith, and kind of how that impacts everything that you do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm a Christian, and being in human resources, I do have to be careful a little bit. Yeah. You want to build trust with people, and I understand not everyone has Christian beliefs. And so I just don't want that to become an obstacle for people trusting me and talking with me. So I do have to walk that line a bit. But I think my interest in understanding people comes from the belief that we're all made intentionally by God, that we are his workmanship, and he's created us with good works in mind that he set out in advance for us to do. That's what the Bible says. And so I think that my interest in people is really driven from this belief that each one of us is made intentionally in God's image, yes, but he made us for a purpose, and we really can't find that purpose and really achieve that purpose until we are redeemed, until we come into a relationship with Jesus Christ, and we can begin to be remade into a new person. So that's my personal conviction, which gives rise to, I think, my interest in people.
Yeah.
I was interested a few years ago in prayer, and I looked at my own life and I thought, I'm not really enjoying prayer. This isn't a habit of mine that's very exciting or interesting, but I knew that prayer is a key to having a vibrant relationship with God. Yeah. And so I figured I should figure this out. I don't want prayer to be boring for the rest of my life. And so I started studying the scriptures and identified these different types of prayer in the Bible. And in the end, I found 12 different types of prayer in the Bible. And I paired that with this concept of strengths and personality types. And hey, maybe we all have these sort of sweet spots in prayer, that if we do that, then prayer can become exciting and sustainable rather than sort of copying other people and imitating other people. And so I found these 12 prayer types, and I put them together in a book called Made to Pray, along with a prayer assessment. And it's really a way to find your best prayer types or find your prayer strengths in order to, enjoy God and build intimacy with him. And that's been highly successful in my life and fun, is to pray the way that makes me feel alive and close to God. And so that's been a way for me to bring my faith kind of into helping people develop. And that's been a good work. So that's one piece, one way I bring my faith into what I do. I also think that strengths and Enneagram are both means of spiritual growth. Just like you can aim both of these tools at better communication or better conflict management, for example, or better project management, I think you can aim these tools too at spiritual growth. And so I've taken a look at that and looked at what does the Enneagram say about me, and ways to grow, as well as what do strengths say about me and ways to grow.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And, I think, Christ, his sacrifice, being willing to die for his people, and kind of having that, just that humbleness, I think makes us, makes you a stronger person to be able to handle HR things. I do agree, everybody has their own rights to their own beliefs and everything. So you have to kind of tread that, gracefully. But really it gets to your heart and how you want to impact other people and, love on them and, in a professional sort of way and, just share your heart and be kind and compassionate and, all the strengths that, that they talk about in the I just went blank, but anyway, having a servant's heart and all that. It's just really powerful. Faith is a huge part of my life. I struggle with things and have, I'm definitely not a perfect person where, as the Bible would say, we're all sinners and fall short of the glory of God. And, that's obviously, true. But if we can focus on, that compassionate, caring, not, non-judgmental side of faith, yes, there's the law and you can go, well, you did this and you did that. But but it also talks about forgiveness and that stuff and looking on the person as a broken vessel, just like you are, and equal in that way. And if you can approach people that way with that broken heart, that humbleness, and just, get in there and care about people, it'll make a massive difference for, I think anything you do. So, but anyway, I don't normally talk about religion, faith much in things I do, but it is definitely for me personally, influence on how I look at things and how I want to treat people with honor and respect, no matter what background they come from, or if they have a different lifestyle that I don't necessarily approve of, as far as my life. But again, it's not about me; it's about not judging and focusing on Christ. And anyway, so I can go on and rant on that, but thank you for going into that detail. And I heard you had a new headquarters getting built. How is that going?
Yeah, we do. We have a new building going up. We were supposed to be done in June, and then COVID hit, everything got delayed. And now we are actually in the final stages of, finishing touches. Code inspector has to come in and grant us occupancy. So we're not actually working there yet, but it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be awesome. It's really going to help supplement our already great workplace culture. We're building it at the bottom of this mountain bike trail. Oh, wow. Beautiful rolling hills, mountains around us, as mountainous as you can get for Central PA. But it's like the best workplace in town, best workplace location in town. There's ponds all around. It's really cool. And any day now we're going to be able to move in. Limited capacity though, because we're still working at home, most of us. And we're letting our company, take plenty of time till they're comfortable coming back because of COVID. So we'll have not that many people working there from the start. It'll be phased in, but still super blessed to be at this location. And it's going to create an even better environment for our staff.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, back in the day when I worked, I did some contract work at 3M Corporation. That's one thing I did like. It wasn't necessarily the most beautiful place, but they had walking paths and had a very kind of health conscious type mindset about getting out and walking on your breaks and stuff like that. And then for a little bit I was working across the street from the Blue Cross campus here in Minnesota. And they have a really big campus, and they got walking that actually has like a little nature area in the back. And so I would technically jump across the street and walk on their path. I don't know if that's allowed or not, but nobody ever asked me to leave. But all I did was take a walk, and it was a beautiful break during the day to get out there and walk. And I do that around my house, but it's just a residential area, so it's not very pretty. Nowadays, but yeah. Anyway. I think that sounds like a great headquarters, and excited for you to head out there. So, well, I'm going to wrap it up. I've totally forgot, I think, to ask you where to find information, how to contact you, all that stuff. I usually do that at the beginning, and I can't remember. I think we mentioned the website briefly, but
we're at chrisheinz.com. That's Chris Heinz, like the ketchup. No relation. But if I go to Pittsburgh and use my name, Chris Heinz, everyone walks faster. Because
me at the Tiffany store, I use that one a lot when I'm at the jewelry store.
Exactly. So chrisheinz.com, spelled like the ketchup. We're also on Facebook at Chris Heinz Co. Or you can also look up Enneagram and Strengths on Facebook. We're there as well. We're also at Chris Heinz Co. on Instagram. So we've got presence in all these places, just connecting with people. We'd love for you to check us out. Like I said, if that association study is interesting to you, that's at chrisheinz.com/study. You'll find it right there in the top nav there. But chrisheinz.com, place to be for strengths resources, personal development resources, all things Enneagram, and engagement as well.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. And definitely go check out his website, check out that study. And if you need some energy stuff, of course, go see his main business as well. So thanks again. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Jess. And thanks for listening in on our podcast.